Gamers, Super Mario Kart. It's that Mario Kart that either people will forget or people will forget. But in this case, I'm not going to forget it because I can't. It's the only mainline game in the series I have yet to cover. So what better way to cover it than in the best way I know how, and that is with two different tier lists. I have one for the racetracks and one for that rather okay-ish OST. So I'm going to go through this one a little faster. So if you're expecting any sort of waffling when it comes to this one, I'm afraid you're going to be a little bit disappointed. Super Mario Kart as a game is not one that I particularly care about, but I will give it its time of day nonetheless. This one, I'm going to go by the track themes because I can't be bothered to go in cup order. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I just can't be bothered. So let's talk about all of the 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the last time we're all going to get to say this, guys. You never really start with your best track. And I think Mario Circuit 1, the very first track ever made, solid enough, I would say. It has a couple of turns, a couple of hazards. When it comes to first tracks, they definitely could have done better, but they also definitely could have done worse. That's not going to stop me from putting it in C, though. So if you're expecting anything different, then haha, get you baited. I think Super Mario Kart is at its best when you're doing these kinds of turns. And I think, as you can see from the minimap right over here, I think Mario Circuit 2 has that in spades, along with the big yump. Verticality is something that this game doesn't do a lot of, and when it does, it's just kind of neat, isn't it? I quite like it. It's decently fun, got some interesting turns, expands on the original Mario Circuit 1, and as a cup ender, this is one of those rare instances where you end a cup, and yet I actually like you as a circuit. I don't know how you've done that, Mario Circuit 2, but good on you. So I think it's fair enough if I bump this up to an A.
That's pretty good.
And then after Mario Circuit 2, they made another Squeakquel. Can you believe this? I know we hate this track now because of how much it's just been brought back over and over and over again. It's like William Afton, right? It always comes back. But I think in its original incarnation, as I said, it really is a fantastic step up from the second one. It's got even more turns. I think the big U-turn here, as harsh as it is, I think what... Nintendo over here just cannot be bothered with the harshness of this one U-turn and simply just brakes and goes around like that. And I think if that's that level you are at Super Mario Kart, to be honest, I really don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. As I've said, the U-turns don't really work well in this game. Having just one in the middle, as like the central area of the track, makes for a decent bit of difficulty, I would say. You can't Nintendo U-turn... Shut up. It's a shame that the passage of time has utterly ruined any reputation you could have had. In this game, pretty solid. But you know what I don't like, though? Do you know what I don't like? I don't like plagiarism, guys. And Mario Circuit 4 is an interesting case of plagiarism. All they did was just mirror Mario Circuit 3, make the roads a tiny bit narrower. And you called it a day? Or some extra pipes and some shaved road? Is that all? Is that really all you got for me? Oh, and to think Nintendo were originally going to make a Mario Circuit 5 that was just a mirrored version of this, but with the road even more shaved and even more pipes. Look it up. My source? I made it up. You already know where I'm going with this. Oh, identity theft
is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer every year.
It does not deserve to be remade. And anyone who says otherwise, you're wrong. University plagiarism is great. Other than, okay, maybe there's one instance where it was good. Other than that, no, plagiarism is bad. Can I steal your identity? Do you think you're able to steal these dashing good looks? I'd like to see you try. Let's talk about the OST, shall we? Let's get to the iconic circuit theme. I mean, we might hate it simply because of how overused it is, but come on, it's solid. Ooh, wait, who is it? Who is it that said it in the chat? Who is it? Everyone is nostalgic for it, but it's just okay. Ooh, Bowser dude, you like Mario Circuit, Bowser dude? It's got a funny, nice drum pattern, and it's just really solid all around. Ooh, I refuse. Oh, my hypnotism. I thought my hypnotism was strong enough. If you hate the Mario Circuits, honestly, fair. Mario Circuit OST wise, solid. I like it. It's pretty fun. Obviously, this is actually one of the better Mario Circuit themes, even though it's used all the time. That is true. At least it's not the fucking... At least it's... I was going to say at least it's not the Wii Circuit theme, but... Yeah, no, actually, no, I am going to say that. At least it's not the Wii Circuit theme. Wii slander. I will be there no matter what. Should we go on to the next track theme, which is the Donut Plains. So Donut Plains 1. It's just kind of plain. I'll be here all week, gamers. I'll be here all week. I am a funny haha man after all. I think after Mario Circle 1, it serves as a fine continuation. I think it does have one interesting hazard, which is the slippery road here, introducing the aspect of you can take the most inward path, but you have to contend with extra slipperiness. I think it's some decent enough game design, but it's nothing that's going to particularly win me over. I think you're just going to stay and see. I don't think you're particularly offensive, because you are just the beginning track after all, but if you're expecting any higher than this, who is it? Who is it? An underrated masterpiece? Look me in the eyes, Ozim, and say that. Donut Plains 2. Now, I think when I initially played Super Mario Kart, I wasn't too big on Donut Plains 2, but I think it does continue to... It's the part where I'd say, where's your license? But we are dealing with Super Mario Kart, so I will be nice just this once. But I do think the Monty Moles are a decently fun hazard. You know, they infest the middle of the road to give you something to worry about. I think they create quite a fun gimmick in this area where they're a nice test of your driving ability. So once you get to this section here, if you haven't really mastered the drifting yet and can't really take this turn as inward as possible, your punishment for that is you have to contend with the Monty Moles. Are they going to be nice to you and let you go freely? Or are they going to latch onto the back of your car, steal some coins, and slow you down? I quite like that. It's a nice step up difficulty-wise from Donut Plains 1. And I think it works well for the cup that it's in. And I think they do the same gimmick again, but even tougher, which is you can contend with the most inward path, but again, the slipperiness is going to mess you up. Or if you go as wide as possible, you have to mess with the thwomp. So instead of taking the most inward racing line you can, you have to take a bit of a medium one. You're gonna have to thread the needle a little. And since they already showed you a easier version of that hazard beforehand, it feels like a decent build-up, you know? And I quite like that about Donut Plains 2. If there is an underrated masterpiece of the Donut Plains, I would say it's Donut Plains 2. And I would say, do you know what? You're actually pretty good. Super Mario Kart standards. You're actually pretty solid. Mostly when Whistleman appears in Donut Plains. Listen, we'll talk about him in a second, okay? Don't jump the gun. But let's talk about Donut Plains 3 first. I think we're getting to, towards the end. I think it's in the Special Cup. It is very special after all. Firstly, I do think it's quite funny that the Monty Moles are just swimming in the ocean. I do think that's quite charming. Rare bit of Super Mario Kart charm. And I do think it is quite fun how you have to manually hop over the bridge. I think as a starting course in the Special Cup, having introduced you something that you've never done before is quite neat, but I don't think it really evolves on the whole Donut Plains aesthetic, or should I say hazard design, as Donut Plains 1 to Donut Plains 2 did. I think Donut Plains 2 to Donut Plains 3 is a bit they just took the track theme and just kind of squished the stage, which as a way of introducing more difficulty, I think is fine, but I think as a way of like incorporating the themes of what Donut Plains has already established, I think is relatively boring. You have the whole take the inward path for a slippery racing line, go the outer path and risk the thwomps, but except there's no technical safe path. Like there's no area where you can thread the needle. It's just you're either going to be in the slippery shit or in the Monty Mole shit. And I just think that's a bit unfair. It's like either way you're going to have to contend with a bit of luck, and I don't think this sort of luck-based track design should work in a Mario Kart game. I know it's the starting game, so maybe they didn't exactly establish what the trend should be just yet, but I think when you go back and play Super Mario Kart and it's like you're either screwed or less screwed, you're up shit's creek either way, aren't you? And I've got thwomps on the brain because I just want to talk about the thwomps in Bowser Castle right now, if I'm being honest. The ending turns are solid enough. Once again, they do the whole Monty Moles if you go wide, slipperiness if you go near, and have a middle racing line, but why didn't they do that earlier? It's just a bit... It doesn't really evolve on the concept of a Donut Plains, and the thing that Donut Plains 2 did, they just did it again, but a bit worse. And I'm just like... You're doing too much. You're doing too much, boss. You're doing a bit too much. It's got a lot of vibes. It's got a lot of vibes, maybe. What's this? A soggy donut? True. I think as a retro in 8, I think Donut Plains 3 is fantastic. As a special cup track in this game, it doesn't evolve on the Donut Plains gimmicks well enough. And I think its idea of difficulty is just squishing the track a bit more, which is, even by Super Mario Kart standards, just squishing the track is a bit boring. I don't hate you enough to put you in like D or anything, but... You're just kind of, you can just hang out with Donut Plains 1. You two just can, you could both have a nice conversation with Mario Circuit 1. How about that? What about the, OST, man? Take me away. Take me away to Donut Plains City, where the grass is green and the plains are pretty. Oh, Whistle Man, my beloved. I just like both the melody and the counter melody, the whistling, everything about this is just, it's got vibes, guys. I'm gonna say the V word. It's got vibes, and I'm here for it, all right? You better not be shocked, gamers. You better not be shocked at all. I like donut planes. Nintendo Donut Planes Land. I'm changing my channel name right now to that. If seriously, look like skull emoji. I'm being skull emoji in my own chat. You know what, Joe Ball? I don't like you anymore. You had a wrong opinion, so I don't like you anymore. Ghost Valley. I know they don't leave the most up to the imagination, theming wise. It's just kind of a boardwalk with no water and boo PNGs just floating around in the background. In terms of consistency, I don't think there's a single one of these 3 tracks that bore me. Ghost Valley 1 is a decent starting course. I think they do a very, very good job of teasing feather shortcuts to you in this track, because once you jump, there's no way you can take this turn without at least seeing that little bridge, and then it leads you to thinking, what's going on over there? It's a bit. And once you do get a feather, you're just like, ooh, maybe I want to try that. That seems quite fun. Seems quite interesting, doesn't it? And then eventually you do, and then you realize, oh shit, feather shortcuts. As kind of like a old school sort of tutorial design, I think it works very, very well. I quite like your Ghost Valley one. I quite like you quite a bit. I'll put you in B. Does Ghost Valley 2 step it up though? Let's have a look and find out. I think it has another one of those cheeky feather shortcuts. It's not as obvious to see, but on the minimap, I think you can see it there as well. I quite like that. I don't think it evolves on the Ghost Valley sort of as a design as well as I'd like. It does keep the disappearing blocks, of course, but I think the potholes on the ground that the later Ghost Valley will introduce aren't really as prevalent here. It doesn't push the boundaries of what a Ghost Valley is capable of, which is a sentence I don't think anyone's ever said about this game. I think just for being decent turning-wise, while it doesn't evolve on the formula, I still think it's a decent step up from 1. I'll also put it in B. I also enjoy racing on this one. Now, Ghost Valley 3, though, ooh, I think it does everything that other Ghost Valleys does, but like turns it up to 11. I think as the anti-penultimate track of Super Mario Kart as a whole, I think it's got very tough turns. The potholes force you into really small racing lines. It's got a fun little bit of verticality there if you hit the speed bump and the bump on the ground. I think overall, very solid. Again, it's brought down a bit by the theme, and it does have a feather shortcut contrary to popular belief. Again, I think it's just very consistent. I think all of these 3 tracks are very, very consistent. I think consistency-wise, I don't think we're going to see a better set of 3 tracks than the Ghost Valleys. Do you feel it was actually planned to be in tour but wasn't finished by the time they stopped making content for the game? Maybe it means it'll get the big glow up. Potato. Don't threaten me with a good time, brother. But you know what isn't a good time, though? Oh, boy. The music of it is definitely boring, but some of those low notes are definitely eerie. I actually agree. I think as the track as a whole, it's not going to rank high, spoiler alert. But there's definitely something about this bit here. I think in a track that had a bit more on the presentation front, I think this sort of eerie music design could have worked very well. But I just don't think it works well for Ghost Valley. For a game that looks like this, I don't think that's something you're gonna sell us on. I'm gonna be honest. OST wise, I'm feeling a bit Arlo-ish, guys. I'm feeling a bit Arlo-ish today. I'll leave you in D. I'll leave you in D. I'll leave you in D. Do you know, I've made my decision. No, you know what? I'm changing it. I'm changing it to C. I'm changing it to C. Actually, no, I'm gonna. You know what? It's an F now. It's an F. It's in D. It's in D, guys. It's gonna be in D. It's gonna be. As I'm leaving it. I'm leaving it. Once we're done getting spooky with it. Ooh, Choco Island 1. Oh man. Oh. Do you know what I hate about Choco Island? Is that before I played this game properly, as any YouTuber worth their salt will tell you, I like to be a bit different. I try to be as quirky as possible, because being quirky is just kind of fun, especially at night, especially when you get quirky at night. But so I really wanted to be one of those people that was like, do you know what? Choco Island is an underrated gem, but I just can't. What have you got? Just bumps on the ground? Mud puddles? Those are your starring hazards? Even by Super Mario Kart standards, you can find, look what, the pipes from Mario Circuit, the potholes and the disappearing walls from Ghost Valley, the Monty moles in Donut Plains. Even by Super Mario Kart standards, having just bumps on the ground and mud on the track is just really fucking boring. Oh, can I just leave? Just leave, man. Oh, just a big puddle of shit in the middle of the track. No. That's the harshest off-road of any track, I guess. Let's give Bowser a round of applause. you get the award of you tried your darndest. You get that I tried my darndest award. Please collect your reward at the concession stand at the end of the Sermesty stream. Lord knows that this is getting no plaudits from me. None at all. There's absolutely nothing about any of these tracks that I can even praise on a game design perspective. Visually, it looks bad. To play on it just feels bad. The hazards are not interesting. The piranha plants, I guess, add a little bit of color, but what am I supposed to say? What do you want me to say? What, the music, can the music save it, gamers? Is the music gonna save it? As I've mentioned before, I think the mixing is just very, very weird. I think the melodies feel like they should be swapped around. You know, it feels like it should be swapped around. I feel like the main melody is just a bit too quiet. The mixing is just off. And if you want proof of the mixing being off, I think they fixed this in the Super Circle version, if I'm not mistaken. You can hear the melody far more prominently than you can in this version. I'm okay, thank you. Seymour! The house is just fucking chocolate island. I'm losing energy, guys. We're feeling a bit low energy today. Let's move on to the Cooper bit. Oh, Rusty beach tracks. Rusty, you're just being biased towards beach. True. I'm not even gonna pretend that's not true. Cooper Beach 1. I know that you can probably use this to describe a lot of Super Mario Kart tracks when I say it's just an oval. This one's a bit too aggressively an oval or a circle. Does that make sense? Like, I know Super Mario Kart has, like, what, 3 map layouts? But it's what's in the layout that counts. And I think in this one is like...
And here we go. I hope you're hungry. For nothing.
If you're first place in this track, unless you get lucky with the red shells, you're not catching up to the guy in first. It's just not happening. Of course, since you're going up against AI, when you go up against... Oh. He's tiny, Donkey Kong Jr. now. Yeah, I'm not waking up out of bed for this one. Oh, boy. It's a bit too aggressive and oval for me. Does Cooper Beach 2 fix this, though? I do think that Cooper Beach 2 at least has something interesting going on. I think the dynamic of having to stay within the lines of the beach, if you go a bit too far out, you hit the water. If you go bit too in, you hit the grass. I do think that's at least an interesting sort of way of designing a track. And of course you have the, well, you can't really see it, it's a bunch of pixels on this, but you have the darker colored puddles where if you fall into it, you end up slowing down horribly, and you have the cheap that are bouncing around a bit unpredictably. So even though Cooper Beach 2 is nothing to write home about, especially by, what's it, Special Cup standards, I think it's definitely one of the weaker Special Cup entries, if I do say so. It's at least got something going on. I think by Super Mario Kart standards, I think the best you can ask for is just don't offend me. I think Cooper Beach 2 does a good job of being relatively inoffensive. It says frick instead of fuck, you know? And for that, I'll leave it in B. I think it just about squeezes into B. I think just about. What about the OST though? Oh, Musty, you're just gonna rank it high because it's beach music. I'm a sucker for beach. Just kill me. Just kill me now. Take me. My hands are up. My hands are up. Not gonna lie, the only reason I want Cooper Beach back is for the music. Absolutely. Same here. I love Cooper Beach, Charlie. I love Cooper Beach. But am I biased for the next set of tracks? The Vanilla Lakes. Now, I know I said that Cooper Beach was aggressively a circle. This is definitely one of those that's a bit too aggressively a square. You know, as I said again, this game only has like 4 track layouts. Don't be that aggressive about it. Come on. You know, at least give me a little spice. And don't get me wrong, this track's version of spice is the blocks that if you hit them, they slow you down. It's just a shame they don't regenerate every lap. Because I think if they regenerate every lap, I think that they could be quite interesting. The first person always has to contend with the ice blocks at their hardest, and the person maybe furthest back can probably hope that somebody's hit an ice block or two to help them navigate through it a bit easier. I think if they regenerated, this track could have at least been quite interesting. But as it stands, it's really got nothing about it. I don't hate it as much as a lot of people do, because I actually do think, you know, weaving in between the ice blocks, especially on lap 1, is still kind of fun, even though it's only one-time use. So I don't hate it as much as the rest of you guys do. It's still in D tier, obviously. It's not going any higher than that, if that's what you were thinking. But yeah, Vanilla Lake 1, not so bueno. And for the penultimate track, they decided to go with a Squeakquel, Vanilla Lake 2. Oh man. Now, Vanilla Lake 2, does it deserve to be the penultimate track of Super Mario Kart? No. By difficulty standards? No. To play on, though, it's actually really fun. Again, skipping through all the ice blocks, taking all those jumps to, take cheeky little shortcuts over the ice, over the like jagged water puddles. It's actually really fun to play this track. By Mario Kart standards, by Super Mario Kart standards, this track is a shockingly high amount of fun. It's one of the rare tracks in this game I'm happy to play. So Vanilla Lake 2, it might seem a bit too generous, but actually skipping over the jagged water is actually just really, really, really fun. And especially as like as a penultimate track, is it the best track you could do design-wise? No. But as a little bit of fun before you play what is easily the hardest track in the series, or the hardest version of the hardest track in the series to be more specific, I think this is a little bit of a fun respite before you have to lock in for SNES Rainbow Road. I put it third best so far. Very good showing. Does the music have a very good showing though? That's the question. I'm gonna be honest with you, Vanilla. Like, I have been a bit harsh to you in the past, music-wise. I feel like if this was so musty about 2 months ago, you'd be like down here, music-wise. You'd be down here. My iced music bias be damned. But listening to you, you're not the worst thing ever made. You're not the worst thing ever made, Are you that interesting? But are you the worst thing ever made? It is the poster child of no strong feelings. I think, it sounds pleasant enough. I think just by order of magnitude, I think you kind of have to be in C because you're way better than this and you're way, way better than this and you're worse than this. So by default, I think you just kind of have to be in the C tier of no strong feelings. Once we're done with getting chilly with it, we get fire with it. Oh, yes. Bowser. Wowzer? Cool Bowser. Bowser Castle 1. Oh, the Bowser. Why is your first Bowser Castle so bad? Son, I just didn't know. Son, I just thought those little cages off to the side would be kind of funny and somebody got stuck in there. Father, they're too out the way, Father. Father, why did you design it this way? Shut up, son. You don't even have a track to your name. Shut up. I think even by Mushroom Cup standards, it just doesn't really do anything too interesting. It does introduce the concept of the thwomps, which, as I've explained many a time, and I'll explain as many times as I need to. The thwomps on lap 1 simply just stare at you. They check you out. Before on lap 2, they decide to be a bit chicanerous. I think while the positionings of these thwomps lend themselves some tricky-dicky game design, I think the later Bowser Castles definitely do this sort of thwomp positioning so much more better to the point where it kind of leaves Bowser Castle 1 in the mud. I don't think it's the worst track ever made, especially by Super Mario Kart standards, but it is just a bit uninspiring. It does have a very cool thing where, for example, this section here, by taking the speed pad, you do get a bit of speed, obviously, but you can risk bumping into the thwomps and not aligning yourself as best you can, which, as I've said, I would give you a bit more credit for Bowser Castle 1, but the other Bowser Castles just do everything you do so much better to the point where it kind of just puts you to shame, At least Donut Plains 1 or the other ones of each track do something interesting, but the things you do interesting are done far better by the other tracks of the same name, so I can't really give you too much credit for that. I really can't when you have nothing unique to your name. So, yeah, oh boy. Not as worse as these two. Good lord knows you're not. But the de facto bronze medal of the worst track in the game, I think that's fair, right? Then we get on to Bowser Castle 2. If there are no Bowser Castle 2 defenders, I am dead. As many people will say, as Frying Pan Sam, the legendary YouTuber, once said, the dead end turn on the left is just not intended to be a shortcut. Not only do I say it is, but I just think having a dead-end turn in the middle of your track that tells you to stop, that you can still feather shortcut anyway, if that's not peak comedy, I don't know what is. And I'm not listening to you tell me what peak comedy is. I'm not listening to you gamers, because I think it's peak comedy. When I'm in a BC2 glazing competition, my opponent is so musty. Double 2 skull emojis. I rate that. Do you know who I also rate? F7 Jin, baby. Bro, I love BC2 maybe a little too much at its peak. See, again, when you're in a glazing BC2 competition and your opponent is the tag team of F7 Jin and Sir Musty, you're cooks. Because I just think that while design-wise, I can 100% understand why people don't like this track. I'm not pretending to be part of this wave to recognize that BC2 is good. I acknowledge that it is not stellarly designed. I think the dead end turn, while it is a feather shortcut, I think it could have been designed to maybe telegraph the player a bit more, because especially since you're naturally going to be drawn to this, you pass by it, so it's only natural that you're going to take the turn. So even though it's only a one-time chicanerous behavior sort of thing, in principle it is really annoying that, yeah, you take the left turn as you think you would in a Mario Kart game and you just end up eating lava. Yeah, I can understand that. It's really annoying. And also this grid section in the middle, essentially having one correct path, so to speak, without it being so intense on the game design front that becomes crazy. Essentially, you just want to drive as straight as possible, then up here, then as straight as possible, then down here. So essentially, there's a correct path for a track where you pick multiple paths. Again, bad design, and I understand that. But I still think this turn section is still very thrilling to race on. I think the positioning of these thumps right up here make taking a wider path a bit more harder than it needs to be, especially with these thumps over here as well. I think the thumps being positioned in their places really makes for interesting level design. Again, if you want to take the most inward path you can, but you have to risk it for the biscuit. And again, if you take this turn here a bit wider than you'd like, you have to contend with the thumps as well, which this Yoshi here ends up avoiding. I think the thumps at the end, again, they're placed in such ways to be a bit tough to avoid, but not so tough to step on Bowser Castle 3's shoes. So I think while its design quirks are interesting, to say the least, there's a lot to like in this when you look past the chicanerousness of the dead end turn. Is this person going to Nintendo? I am going to be so upset. You have a feather. Take the feather shortcut. He's not even going to do the super feather shortcut. If you guys don't know, there's a super feather shortcut where you can jump all the way to the end. If you time it just perfectly, you'll land in the lava, but the game will think you finished your lap. So that's a super feather shortcut as well. So he doesn't even do it. Oh man, Nintendo, you just hold that the whole game? Oh, I hope you come second. The Cooper. Hey, Cooper. Hey, yo, DKJ, hey, saw him out, yeah. That's what you get. That's what you get, Nintendo. I am Nintendo's biggest hater now. Yes, third place. Deserved. Challenge me to a 1v1. But SNES Bowser Castle 2, I'm a big fan. I don't think it's amongst the best, but I am a fan. Didn't even use it in the grid section. I know, right? Nintendo L, I can't believe you. But Bowser Castle 3, though, is anything but. So Misty talks about SNES Bowser Castle 3 for the umpteenth millionth time. And guess what, gamers? I'm still not bored of it. I'm never going to be bored about talking about SNES Bowser Castle 3. If you need someone to waffle about it, I will be there no matter what. Again, an absolute masterclass of game design by Super Mario Kart standards and by track standards as a whole. A simple pick-up path section, which is boosted even further by the fact that in Super Mario Kart, you cannot use the same item box you've gotten twice in a row. So if you want to take the same path, you can in order to take the best racing line for you personally. But if you want to get those items to help you catch up, you have to change it up every now and again. And the thwomps in the middle of various paths also adds to the decision making. Do you take a path to avoid the thwomps too? Again, it does the thing that Bowser Castle 1 does, where there's a speed pad here, which you're going to want to take it to get as fast as possible. But you also might opt not to align yourself best to avoid the thwomps. And since there is an occasion where these thwomps can all be down at the same time, which some might say is bad design, and I would agree with them, the fact that you can be 100% blocked off is a bit, I think it is not so great. And they don't stay down for that long. So if you want to be able to thread the needle, you can. If you want to be able to go as fast as possible, you also can. And of course, you have the pillar section, which is not as cool as its, remake contemporary, but it's still a fun little choice-making section. It narrows the paths. It makes your green shells a lot more viable if someone's on the exact same racing line as you. Overall, just an extremely well-designed track by track standards as a whole. I feel like even people that don't like Super Mario Kart have to give this track its praises, and it's easily the best that this game has to offer by a notable margin, I would say. A notable margin. What about the music, though? Is the music better by a notable margin? Let's have a listen. Wow! I just really like the percussion in this version. The percussion just sounds so good. The little melody in the background as well. Yeah, maybe not as good as the whistle, man, actually. I would say second place, but yeah. Oh, good heavens. I love you, SNES Bowser Castle. I will be there no matter what. Do you know what we will also be there for? The road, gamers. It's called a road. A rainbow road. Oh, good heavens, gamers. If you're ever sitting there and you're wondering, man, Mario Kart is too easy now. I feel like, it's just to play the original version of SNES Rainbow Road, 150cc, no save states, no rewinds, and then watch as you die over and over and over again. Of all the gaming achievements I've ever made in my life, honestly, top 20, I think beating 150cc Super Mario Kart Rainbow Road, no save states, no rewinds, has to be up there. Good Lord knows the AI, especially on 150cc, loves to cheat. This track is just horribly difficult with no guardrails at all. The fucking rainbow thwomps that if you bump into, you can also get into a massively horrible loop where you bump into them, you spin out, and then they jump down again, and then you hit them again, and then everything about this track is meant to kick your absolute bollocks. And if you're ever wondering why the reason for Rainbow Roads being so hard, where it gets its reputation from, is from this, man. Modern Rainbow Roads might still be tough, but might have a bit of that, you know, a bit of that casual factor about it to make it accessible to all ages. This Rainbow Road wants to kick you in the bollocks and take your wallet. Exactly that. Thank you, Nintendo. Beating this track in 150cc is something that I recommend every single person who loves Mario Kart should try at least once, because good Lord knows you're in for an ass kicking you are. I still think I like Super Bowser Castle 3 better as a racetrack, but Rainbow Road is just, as a final gauntlet to this game, I think this is fantastic. What about the music though? Hey! And the drum here. The drums on the loop. Oh, the drums on the loop. You have to give it to him. You have to give it to him. He knew what they were doing with the music department. And I think the last S tier entry has to go to Rainbow Road. So there we have it, gamers. My OST and racetracks for Super Mario Kart. Oh my god, it's finally done. We're done with Mario Kart. Once and for all, it's finished.
Mario Kart is dead.
We've done stealing videos. We're done making our own videos. It's over now. It's over. Until I do Arcade GP OST at some point. But until then, it's over. It's over. Overall, I think Super Mario Kart is a decently fun game that I think that everyone should at least check out once. If you're someone who thinks that the modern games are just too easy, Super Mario Kart is definitely the game that you should try. And it's something that you should challenge someone else to a 1v1. That's what you should do at some point in your life. So that's it. No more Mario Kart after this? I mean, that depends on you. If there's any interesting video concepts that I should give a try, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And while you're doing that, big thank you to the members as always. The tier 1 knights you can see in the description, and the tier 2 royal guard, and the wizards you can see on the screen now. Thank you so much, guys. Very cool, very chill, very nice. Very nice. Almost as nice as more videos. Wow, definitely watch those. Maybe when you're sleeping as well. Because people do that apparently. I just realized recently. Anyway, there's your lot.